What's goody, man? Episode 57 of the Talking Shit podcast. I am Dr. Evil Genius.
And I am Captain Paul, and it didn't take us a year to get to 7 episodes this time. This is crazy. This is a hot streak, man. We're fucking cooking with some fire here, cooking some gas.
Yeah, man. But it's been I don't know, man. I've just been tired lately. So I haven't really been like recording videos like I know I should. You got to get on that grind, stop fucking around. But we did a lot of work on Saturday. There was a lot going on. There was definitely more than I was really prepared to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
simply because I planned to focus on the Royal Rumble. So, for people that know or don't know, I have not really paid attention to WWE since I want to say when I want to say when Roman Reigns went over Brian Danielson,
Mm-hmm.
known as Daniel Bryan in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I hadn't really paid attention because I was just kind of tired of the creative at WWE not really giving a fuck what the fans actually wanted. And it was clear that Daniel Bryan was over. He was very, very over. And I think for Mrs. Evil, she was done with it when Super Cena was doing his Super Cena thing. She got real,
Mm-hmm.
real tired of that real quick. And so I really wanted to focus on this Royal Rumble because, I'm pretty knowledgeable about wrestling, but I really had no real familiarity with most of today's superstars. So I really wanted to focus on that. But then I woke up to some bullshit, and I probably, I look back in hindsight. How they say hindsight is 2020, right, Cap?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And so normally what I like to do is I like to identify worthless people and then give them no attention. Like I give you an example, right? I was working with JD today, and we're working pretty hard, right? I got him to 205 working weight, so he had 15 reps at 205 on a deadlift today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we're in there working hard, and this chick walks in there with like 1/3 of a shirt on, and she's looking out for all this attention. And me and Jay look at each other like we already know.
Yeah.
Like she's not here to like really get a hard workout in. She's here for external validation. And so what we like to do with people that want external validation, we like to counter by giving them absolutely nothing. Like I've been doing this for so long. Like a chick want to, look around, and I want everybody to look at me. And now we've got like this new trend, right? Where a chick will set up a camera in the gym,
Oh my. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then if anybody looks in her direction, look, he's a creep. Oh my God, I feel
Oh,
so unsafe.
there.
Somebody looked at me.
There
But
was
please
actually one.
subscribe to my OnlyFans.
There
Fuck
was
out of
one
here.
chick that went pretty viral with that, where she
Yeah.
put up a camera and then try to portray the dude that was like try to help her out with weights and was doing his own thing, and he was like glancing at her way,
Yep.
and try to like portray him as some creep or some
Yep.
weirdo, and it did not go well for her on the internet. With some rational people were like, "Yo, that he's not looking at you creepily. You're just making extra." That's why I don't know, man. Sometimes with the cameras in the gyms, I like the gyms that have like the no camera policy, because it's
Yeah.
like, why the fuck am I gonna want to go work out? And then if I glance in just a general direction, maybe if I'm just lifting weights and kind of spacing out, I could suddenly be posted on the internet for being a creep. You know?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they don't have the no camera thing in there necessarily for that reason, because it is a new phenomena of trying to shame men for being men. And seditionist goes is audio's a little bit low on Paul's side. You know what, Paul? We might have to just deal with the crackling a little bit. You might want to put that gain up just a little bit,
Oh
man.
man, I can.
I mean, we know that you're going to turn into Rice Krispie treats on right here on the
Is this is
podcast.
this is this crackling like crazy, or is this not?
Yeah, it's cracking a little bit, but we can
Hold
hear
on.
you. It's more important that we actually get to understand what the fuck you're saying. right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of raise my voice and talk louder into the microphone if that helps.
No,
I don't.
no, no, we're, we're. Oh wow, I can't put that. I can't put that comment on the stream. Traditional is like that's racist.
Yeah.
Yo, I didn't know you had it in you, man.
Yo,
God damn. Okay.
See, you can't because you don't deal the white struggle, but I can. So there we
Oh,
go.
yeah. We'll get into more of that later in the stream. But if I would have known that I was, because you know how sometimes you see a clip and
Right.
you're like you react to the clip, right?
Correct.
But then you end up getting more information afterwards. Like when you hear that a black man was jumped by 5 black officers and beaten to death, and you're like, wow, police brutality. And then more information comes in and you find out, well, the dude they beat to death was smashing one of the other guy's wives. Then it's like, oh, okay, we've got additional context. Well,
Oof.
we here at TSP did a reaction live stream that a certain somebody didn't show up for. And
I fell asleep. I'm sorry. God.
Bitch ass.
We just recorded before that, bro. I was like, we did a nice deep conversation.
And we
sat
told
on the
you.
couch.
But
and
we
I
told
passed
you
out.
we're about to go live. And then like I'm texting you, I'm calling you, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like
I
the
passed
fuck.
out, bro. It happens, man. God damn, bro. I'm working. I'm building an empire over here.
Yeah, on your fucking couch in your dreams. Fucking bitch. Anyway. So I saw the clip and I very hurriedly reacted to it because, like I'm a very loyal friend. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's on some bullshit. I'm going to say something because they on some bullshit. But what I failed to like recognize and this is why we're going to say that we are responding to the comment section. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up some stuff. I've already and the thing is, we want to make it very clear what the rules are on this platform. The rules on this platform are very, very clear. We accept trolls, but you have to be entertaining. If you are not an entertaining troll, if you are not entertaining, we will get rid of you because you're not bringing anything to the table. So if you are going to like talk shit, the shit's got to be funny.
Yeah,
it's got to be somewhat original. And if my first instinct is to laugh, and you are insulting me, then I'll let you live. I'll let you live. But if you're coming here on some, there's certain words we can't see on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's certain letter words that I want to use, but I'm not going to use those words because
we can't use that. We can do that with low T.
Yeah. We'll save that for low T, right? Peter says, doesn't matter what the guy did, doesn't give the cops the right to do what they did.
Absolutely.
100%. And we are going to dig into those comments, Peter. We are definitely going to get deep into that. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Because we had some very interesting comments on the video that we did discussing what happened. I still don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. If it's Tyree or Tyre, it looks like it's spelled Tyre. But I digress. We're going to go into the comments. And, there are some comments that I thought that were pretty reasonable. And there's some other stuff that I thought was notable. Okay. But I'm going to start with the guy that tries to paint this, I believe his name is Kevin Scampoli. I believe that is what his name is.
Yeah.
Kevin Scampoli. I want to make sure I'm saying his name properly.
I'm just going to call him Scumbag. So doesn't.
Well, so I actually had a very nice interaction. I wouldn't say very nice, but he stood up for his guy, and I salute this guy. This guy, he believes in what he believes in, and he gave a little bit of context to some things. So I'm a person, I always want to believe the best in people. So sometimes I believe that some people will say something that's out of character when they're not happy about something or they feel like they're being attacked. People get defensive. You know, sometimes they do and say things that are not necessarily indicative of their character. Now, from the clip that I saw originally, I'm like, these guys are making light and celebrating domestic violence? That doesn't make sense. As a professional in the fitness arena, I've gotten into stuff with trainers that I worked with that wanted to make fun of people who were overweight or people who were deconditioned. And I'm just kind of like, yo, like, I'm not feeling that. Like, we need to encourage these people. So when I see it looks like you're trying to tear down people who are making difficult moves to better themselves, I'm going to say something, right? So, but this guy, this guy gives some context because I don't think that anybody gets up and says, you know what, I'm going to be a fucking piece of shit today. And I'm going to live my life by being a piece of shit. I don't think that anybody just suddenly wakes up one day and says, this is who I'm going to be. And so when I try to put myself in the shoes of Kevin Scampoli, the way that Shiv.S here, so I'm just going to read the comment. Super fun wrestling, or TWFS. I don't know what that is.
Just call them the super fun show, whatever.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to front, man. I like the name of their channel. I do like the name of the channel. It kind of reminds me of Wonder Chosen. Some of the shit that you would see like on Adult Swim. It reminds me of that kind of thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
like Super Jail or something.
Yeah. That's a fucked up show.
That is a really.
But I really enjoyed that show. Is the best wrestling YouTube content on the net. Heck, I don't even class it as wrestling content anymore. They had 160,000 subscribers at one point, and Kevin Scampoli works hard as fuck. Watch his retrospectives. Look at the editing. He's been doing this for 10 plus years, and it is top tier quality content. He's the attitude era of this YouTube space. So this made me rethink this guy a little bit. I'm thinking, well, did I get this guy wrong? Like, he's just kind of like, dropping like one of those CM Punk type, like pipe bomb type things. And maybe this is just part of his persona. Because, JD is kind of guilty of this too. He puts out this persona, but that's not really who he is, right? So a lot of it's easy to misrepresent somebody if you're just looking at the persona that they kind of put out there online versus who they actually are in their everyday life, right? So I tried to give this guy a Jeremy, how are you doing today? Nice to meet you. All right. So I try to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, right? He goes on to say, even JD knows his content couldn't hold a candle to Kevin's. It's simply better. I'm not really sure about that, to be honest with you.
Can I just?
Because you actually looked at more of what they did on their channel.
Yeah,
what was the impression that you got? Because this was your response here.
It's bland. It's extremely bland. There's nothing super creative being done. It's a beige backdrop. They're talking. They have a big group call where they have other people into it. And I
kind of like that kind of stuff, though. I like a panel channel.
I'll just say this. Nothing against that at all, if that's what you're going to do. But you can't sit there and tell me it's mind-blowing editing. It's out of this world. It blows JD out of the water. Like, I'm just going to say it. It's just very kind of boring. That's all it is. It's just very bland, very boring, and it's a lot of shock jock type stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
so wait, so what are you saying? Like, because the thing is, like, it would be easy for you to judge them because you're not really a wrestling fan and you don't really understand like probably what they're even
I'm not
talking
big
about.
into wrestling, so I'm not really into it. I just thought it was boring, and like the content and some of the videos I did watch, some of the things that they'd even talk about was like, I get being like kind of edgy on humor, but it kind of crossed the line at certain segments
Mm,
where it's like that's some stuff that you would get your ass beat for saying to somebody to their face. You know what I
right.
mean?
But this is an internet where people can say
No,
whatever the fuck they
I
want.
know, but it's just kind of it is what it is with that stuff. I wasn't really overly impressed. The editing was kind of boring, and I mean, it's just kind of a get together of friends that talk shit and try to troll. That's about it. Is this reminds me?
I
This
don't
is
know.
like
It
a
sounds
water.
like fun to me. I mean, it may not be great content, so to speak,
Yeah.
but I know that, like, personally, like when I hear like a group of people talking shit, I can actually drive to that. I can actually like get in the car. You know, I'm gonna go visit family somewhere, or I don't know.
But
Go
if
anywhere.
it was good shit talking, that's the thing. It's just
All
kind
right.
of like very low hanging fruit, not really creative. That's all I'm saying.
Ah,
Because
okay.
because you know me,
Yeah.
man. I've had those different personas on channels where I'd entertain people because you go over the edge and you'd say some wild stuff, and
Right.
I'm fine with that to a degree if that's the type of entertainment you want to go with, but at
Right.
least be, I guess, innovative and creative. Because this reminds me of like a diet version of El Presidor. That's
Yeah. El
yeah,
Presidor fell off the cliff.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
felt
he
it's like
fell off the
worse than
cliff.
that.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
thing
but
is, like, El Presidor has his time, but I think that his stick just kind of grew, like the fans
it
kind
grew
of grew
old.
weary of that.
Grew
I,
old.
I think that was the issue in El Presidor.
And
So
as for the 160,000 subscribers, this is a point I'm going to bring up because I
I'm
apparently
going to read your
that's
comment in a second, Cap. Hold on a second. He says, and by the way, I trained soccer listening to Kevin's podcast because it's actually very motivating. Kev works hard and makes you want to do the same. So this is one of the things that kind of got me rethinking. Maybe this guy is just an internet shit talker, but he's got some redeeming value to him. Like that was so I had time to like, I was trying to like absorb because I
right.
know that there's one side, the other side, and then there's the truth, right? And it's the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's never
Right.
on the extreme sides, right? And I
Mhm.
never want to believe that somebody is just simply a piece of shit human being. Like I don't want to believe that until I have like confirmation that wow, this person actually is
Mm.
a shitty human being. I'm still trying to figure out because somebody said something. Let me skip down here. Somebody said, I was just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So this Captain Charisma guy, again, I love the fucking name. What the fuck is this glamming thing? I don't fucking get it. somebody please educate me.
Oh
Anyway,
man.
so it made me kind of rethink if I had this guy wrong to a certain extent, right?
Right.
Because for me, like even if you're joking, I just cannot make light of domestic violence, period. Um I just can't. I just can't.
Right.
Can't
Right.
do it, right? Especially since men are torn down in our society so much. And when you when you have people um that kind of like push, because you hear these words like toxic masculinity, I don't really believe in that shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a bunch of
Then you
bullshit.
have guys that go above and beyond on certain things. And it's like, do you understand that you're making your interactions with society harder and mine? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to create something where we could support men that are blue collar workers, people who've worked in retail,
Right.
guys that are normally downtrodden in society. I kind of want to kind of push those guys to the top.
Mhm.
And then I got to contend with these feminists that say, well, you guys are toxic and you guys are this and you guys support doing this and you guys support doing that. And it's like men don't support any of this shit. And then you look at a fucking clip and this guy is making light of A, somebody's family member, and B,
Right.
something bad happening to that family member in a domestic setting. It's like, dude, You're making life hard to live for all of us.
Well, it's not even really like, and that's where I'm saying where certain lines are crossed, right? I'm fine with trolling and kind of personal insult. You want to insult, you know, how I look, how I talk, whatever. I don't really give a flying fuck at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But when you're starting to make fun of domestic violence, it kind of makes me question your character, and especially one that's like happening in real. And it seems like, I'm not going to, you know, we'll expand upon it obviously later. It seems like looking into the track record and the background of this Kevin Scampoli, this isn't out of spectrum of what he does. He's kind of known as a scumbag.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it seems like that's disappointing, right? Because I kind of, one of the things that when I found you on YouTube, Cap, was when you pulled out Papa Thunder.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, I can't tell you the kind of things that Papa Thunder would say. I can't, you know, because we're trying to get monetized here. Okay. We can't go there. Okay. But you know what it is like to want to toe the line of what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. So we're not talking about, like, I don't know, you know, being, you know, these goody two shoes guys. We're definitely not that.
No.
This kind of shit we say off camera should probably get us banned from the world. Anyway, so this is your original response to this comment. I'll let you read it. This is all you, man.
All right. If they had 160,000 subscribers at one point, why are they only at 8,000 subscribers? That indicates they didn't have a great retention rate. Usually with that big of a fan base, you would grow rapidly on a new channel. I mean, I've seen that happen with friends of ours that had bigger channels and then got deleted for whatever reason. They had to make a second channel. They would grow big. As for editing, it's very minimal. Nothing's crazy. Anyone with basic video editing program could replicate what has been done. JD has intros and a good backdrop. Objectively, SFW is very bland, and that's generally, at least in my opinion, just bland. I decided to watch a couple of the videos and they were okay. Nothing to write home about. What I see from SFW is them grasping at straws to be relevant. Making fun of JD's parents' situation, his health journey. It just isn't funny. It comes off as pathetic, to be honest. The jokes weren't even that good. If you're going to be a troll, come out with some solid material at least. SFW's model of growing is going to be into shock humor and insulting others. While that might gain them a small following, that will limit them from ever being more than an afterthought. It reeks of desperation and jealousy on SFW's part. And, you know, to kind of expand upon that, right, you can grow on these platforms. And I had kind of a fun side project where I said I created up a different channel, said some fucking wild shit, grew extremely quickly, but you can grow quickly.
You said 500 subscribers from 0 in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's insane, man.
And you can grow extremely quick. The problem, though, is you also limit yourself, right? You can get into the thousands relatively quickly, but you're going to limit yourself from the possibility of reaching a broader audience. Now, if you don't care, whatever, that's your own thing. But it just seems like from these guys, they really want to be, with the way this guy carries himself, he wants to be the next big thing. He wants to be bigger than he is. And quite frankly, with the way he carries himself, the way he talks about domestic abuse, the way he insults other people, he's not going to be able to gain relationships with other human beings to get better, to like profit off of it. And I just see his channel, like, it's weird, 160,000 subscribers, and you got 8,000.
Well, we're going to get into that because we have a little bit more information on that as given to us by one of his fans. But you touched on something I was going to talk about later that I think is really important and very interesting. I've been very successful professionally in my life. I did not come from good beginnings at all. But I've made a very, very good living despite not being particularly talented. And one of the ways that I was able to do that was making contacts and making sure that I don't burn bridges. And I think that Fred Flintstone here, I just love these fucking names, man. Jeremy Slapnut. Okay. Fred Flintstone. I just like these names, man. I just do. Super Fun Wrestling Time is a cult of personality built around one man, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem, but we'll get into what the problems are very shortly. Okay. So the thing is, like, I've made a lot of connections. I have met a lot of people, and I have used my intelligence to um so I think this has got to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cap. This has got to be something in the neighborhood of like some sort of catchphrase that they use on Super
Yeah.
Fun.
No.
It is something that they use, because
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
like,
I only watched a few videos and it was kind of
oh,
a
okay,
fucking
yeah,
snooze to get through.
I've not even heard of this shit before. It is what it is.
It's what it is.
I'm just hoping that we get some funny trolling. I just want to see some funny trolling. But because we accept trolls, but we have a limit here. But anyway, so I've made a lot of relationships in my time, and met a lot of people that are connected in different ways, that understand things better than I understand them, teach me a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, this is great. Okay, so we do have a troll here, and I'm glad that you mentioned this. So
That's actually funny, 'cause we
JD
were
told
gonna
me
talk about
today that they were talking about us, and I'm like, I don't really care, because I know that I'm not dealing with the top of the heap of human intelligence, so I don't really care. I just want to put this shit to bed, because we're not going to talk about them after today anyway, because they're irrelevant as human beings.
Irrelevant, yeah. So.
But it says you use your intelligence to scam Jerry out of 150 to not work out. So I'm going to kind of teach you guys about the fitness profession, and pretty much any appointment-based profession, including your local doctor, physical therapist, massage therapist, any place that you have to set an appointment for.
Mm-hmm.
If you cancel within 24 hours of that appointment, they're going to charge you.
Yep.
That is the standard across the industry. Yep. So Jerry pays $150 a session, and he knows that if he doesn't show up, he's going to forfeit that session. You know how many times he's no-showed? 0 times.
Well, can I just and also to kind of push back on.
Do you know why? But you know why that is the standard in the fitness industry, Cap? You know why it's the standard?
Because a lot of people will just not show up.
Because it is a method of holding them accountable. They know if you don't show for Robert Pyers is here again. How you doing, man? If you don't show up for your session, you're going to forfeit the session. Yep. Right? So fitness is one of those things where most people are just not going to engage in it. You only get about 5% of any community anywhere that actually go to the gym on a regular basis. You'll get a much greater number than 5% that will sign up for a gym. And in a future video, we'll talk about the scams of certain gyms like Planet Fitness, because their business model is built off of you not going to the gym.
Right.
But it is the industry standard that if you cancel the session within 24 hours of your appointment, you forfeit it. And what that does is it keeps people from being little bitches and not showing up. So that's why Jerry has never been docked a session, because he shows up every time. And man, he's getting strong pretty fucking fast because he shows up every time. Okay.
So I mean, I'll just say this though, to kind of just talk about this point. Before I have to get the ligament fix and surgery on it. Like, I had you as a trainer, and we would have some certain sessions, and there were some times where like an emergency popped up, and you were more than willing to reschedule it and work with it.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. Yeah, I normally do that.
It's not just gonna just take the money and run. And I think when it kind of comes down to any profession,
I keep forgetting that I worked with you for 3 sessions until you had that workplace accident.
Yeah,
and we were working remotely. We weren't even in the same building together, and you were making a lot of good progress.
I mean, when it kind of comes down to it, is quite frankly, it's just an industry standard that should be there. Because why should somebody, hey, I'm going to meet you at 9:00 on Wednesday.
Right.
They don't show up. Of course, because you have to go to the facility, get everything
Yep.
ready.
Yep. Also, I cannot.
You're
Also,
wasting someone else's time.
Also, the reason why the 24-hour rule exists is because if that person just says, hey, I'm not coming in, then I don't have the opportunity to then put somebody else in that time slot, and I don't get paid if I don't work.
No.
So
and that's I think it's
show respect for my
unreasonable.
time and my professionalism.
It's unreasonable.
Right?
It's
Right.
unreasonable for someone to not show up to a session, not call you, not have any form of communication, and expect not to be charged for that. That's
Right.
just ignorance. And
Right.
the problem is, I'm just going to call it what it is. Most of those people that are commenting that as a scam have never even been in a business, never run any profession.
Yeah. I mean,
Most
we're talking
likely-
about people who are just not successful.
Yeah.
Because they don't even understand. The thing is, when you hear somebody talk about, oh, you're scamming somebody if they late cancel on you and you charge them, then you know that, A, they don't make any money. They're broke.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're broke. You're telling me that you've never done business. You're telling me that you've never worked with a professional for anything of consequence.
Well, when it
Either that or you didn't read the fine print and you didn't find out you were going to get charged because you showed up.
That'd be like me on crew change day, not calling anyone, not letting anyone know, just not showing up and expecting there not to be any type of consequences. When you are a professional, like me and Evil are, you have to carry yourself a certain way. Now, to be very blunt, the people like Kevin Scampoli, who, in my opinion, isn't very professional and is exactly where he is in life because of the failures that he has done. Like, it's like apples and oranges. You can't compare someone like that and that fan base who just doesn't understand. Like, dude, $150. You agreed on a time. You didn't call me before 24 hours. Like, it's a common sense.
Yeah. So this list says, like falling asleep and not showing up to a live stream, expecting there are no consequences.
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
Yeah. So, and Jeremy makes a good point here. Kevin hasn't missed a show ever. And the thing is, one of the things that I would give him, because it seems to me that the dude is consistent in delivering the content to his chosen demographic. I will never ever shit on the guy's hustle. I will never do that. But he gives a lot to shit on. Besides that, so I'm gonna go into the response that we're definitely gonna Fred. We are going to be discussing this primarily. Please. We are going to get into this because the gentleman did not lose them.
No.
Okay, he didn't lose his families.
Can we just go into that?
We're not going to be drawn out of who we are by somebody who we're never. I'm not even going to remember who this guy is going forward from today because I don't give a fuck. Like, the guy does not register on any level of importance. Okay. So I responded to the same comment. You had your response because I don't give hate clicks. Mm-hmm. If you have 8,400 subscribers, my clicking is adding to your money, and I'm just not going to do it.
No.
So I don't care what you have to say. I don't really care. Now, when I worked out with Jay today, he watched it. I'm like, come on, guy, you got to be mentally stronger than that. But he watched it, and he's like, oh, he said this about you. He said this about your wife. And then I'm like, well, like he is who I thought he was, right? Do you remember that old meme?
Yeah.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. You remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember
that was funny as shit. But I tried to, my response to this guy was, you get points just for the Illmatic avatar. If you're a fan of Nas, I got to give you some credit. Like, especially like Illmatic is just a legendary album. It's just, I got to give you props, guy. He said, so I go on to say, you make some decent points. However, what was responded to, doesn't sound anything like what you're saying here. Perhaps they represented themselves improperly, I don't know. Frankly, I don't care in the long run, as our content here on TSP doesn't dovetail with theirs. If they motivate you, I'm all for it. That's what men need in the online spaces. Now, I got to make this very clear. If you are out there getting something positive from Kevin Scampoli, I fucking salute you. I fucking salute you, because we have enough fucking problems in the world. And if you get it from his brand of humor, or whatever he's offering to you, as long as you're not harming nobody, I'm good with it. But I gotta make it very clear. As long as you're not harming anybody, and we'll get into that later. So he goes on to say, YouTube deleted the channel. That's the thing about Kev. He scratches and claws his way back like a real man. Listen to his response to you guys yesterday. And then I find out he's making fun of people's family members. He's attacking people's wives.
Just straight
He doesn't understand the 24-hour cancellation policy, which is standard across the entire private sector. The services private sector, it's standard. You're a scammer for following the same blueprint that every business has followed since the beginning of capitalism.
The guy's a fucking idiot. There's really not much to talk about there. He's obviously just someone that's never run a business or doesn't make real money. Just being.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're telling on yourself. I mean, you think you're making fun of me, but you're just telling on yourself. Like, you're ignorant to like basic business practices.
Yeah.
So, for the record, and JD in the comments, you could probably let the people know. You can verify this. You have not been docked underneath that policy in now 11 weeks of this program. All right, so so I said we don't have any interest in going back and forth. Personally, I've seen enough, and I'm not a fan. I do appreciate you clearing up some stuff and defending your content creator in a civil fashion. Question, and this is the big thing, people. Why was the channel removed? Was it a hack? Was it DCMA? Or a community guidelines issue? Now, the reason why I put it like this is that it's super important to make sure that you're not attacking people for undue reasons.
Right.
And so I didn't want to be like, well, they cut your channel because you're an asshole. And enough people reported you, and then they rubber stamped you being an asshole. And that's why you lost your 160,000 subscriber channel, which obviously you lose a lot of money when you lose a channel like that, because you have access to things that smaller channels don't have. I mean, we're really trying to move up the ladder ourselves on this new project that we've been working on. And, we say a lot of controversial things here, but we try to avoid attacking people, or at least not
attack ideas.
Yeah, we attack ideas. We don't attack people, because you never know who is going to be somebody that you're going to collaborate with, or you're going to give information to, or you're going to get information from. You never know. So I didn't want to assume that he got his channel removed because it was necessarily his fault or for a good reason. Sometimes if you use just a couple of seconds too long with a clip, they'll hit you with that DCMA. Somebody could have hacked the channel. Somebody that had some hacking chops that were able to get into his channel and then ruin his channel and then get it taken down. It could have been any one of those things. So I didn't want to assume that it was for nefarious reasons that he got his channel taken down. But from the things that I've seen, I think we can probably make an educated guess on how he lost his channel. Yeah, so we know that other people are in better shape than JD because JD just started. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of you people who think that you're better than him, your first time touching a barbell, you're not moving the weight that he moved his first time touching the barbell. That's a guarantee. So, whoever you're talking about probably has been in the gym for years. This guy's been in the gym for weeks. And another thing that you have to understand too about physical fitness is that, and Fred, can you please, because this is the second person I heard this from, Nick Khan, is he the WWE guy or the AEW guy? Not sure.
I'm not as sure. I don't really follow this stuff. He's the
right. Yeah.
He's the CEO of WWE.
Ah, so that's the other Khan, I think. Yeah, I've been out of the loop on wrestling for so long because they just would not.
Wrestling, but
yeah, they just would not stop shoving Super Cena in our faces, and I just got tired of it. He said he's the WWE president. Fred, please give us, because the thing is, like, again, I don't want to make assumptions and be wrong, because I've been wrong before. I probably was wrong when I was roasting him on Saturday too about some things. Unfortunately, I was not wrong about some other things. But if he lost his channel because somebody bullied his channel away, that's unfair.
All right,
and I don't have to like him. I don't have to. Hey, Paul, I don't have to like him, but I don't want unfair shit happen to him either, because I just don't roll that way.
I get that, but I'm also going to be very fucking clear. And if the guy's the WWE president, he's the CEO of WWE right now, in the grand scheme of things, that's like, who does he doesn't fucking care about some peon of Kevin Scampoli. So he got a copyright strike, which can happen.
It was a copyright. Because the thing is, you have to.
That's
You gotta.
his own fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of that is your.
But
own
the thing
fault
is, you need 3 strikes.
Yeah,
you need 3 strikes before they take your channel.
Idiot. Sorry.
So the thing is, they give you. But the thing is, I also have to give them this caveat. I know of a very popular YouTuber that's not an asshole that got all of his channels taken down. You know how he got his channels taken down, Cap? He had an old channel that he posted to 10 years ago.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Right? Yeah. Devontae the One, right? Yeah. He had an old channel that he hadn't posted to in like over 7 years.
Right.
And then some company decided to just copyright strike a bunch of old videos on a dead channel that he forgot he had. And if they take one channel, they kill all your channels.
Yeah, if it's all linked to one single account.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's possible that it wasn't I was about to call him Vince. It's possible that it wasn't Kevin's fault. But again, like I don't really like to attack people unless I have to. And so, yeah.
But you also when it kind of comes to the copyright thing, I'm just going to say this very clearly. You have to know within the parameters that it's set what you can and cannot use and the length of time that you can use, because the problem that I see with certain content creators, not just with this guy, because I don't know exactly what happened, but just in people in general, they think everything falls under fair use. That's not the case.
No, right? It isn't.
People have won cases for fair use, but just because that, who was H3, I think they had that case that they won.
We beat Viacom in a claim on one of our videos. We beat them. Yeah.
They say, oh, well, we got fair use, so we can use this. Like, they won that case. Fair use is a case-by-case basis. And you have to make sure you make it transformative enough where they don't feel like it's infringing on their copyright. Now,
or just stealing people's content and re-uploading it.
Exactly. So, like, if it was truly transformative, he could have fought it. But obviously he had multiple strikes on the channel. I don't know. It just doesn't really make that much of a sense. It doesn't.
But the thing is, we also know that YouTube is not always fair in how they level. How they how they. What's the word I'm looking for? How they enforce that policy. Mm-hmm. They're not always even with that. So I'm probably going to side with Kevin Scampoli just in the absence of actual information, simply because I look at a vaunted WWE president and you see this channel that has less than 250,000 subscribers. He's got a following, but not the following. It's not like he has millions of subscribers and he's got his own personal guy at YouTube to fight these claims, right? Well, the thing is, they could have let him remove the offending videos like they normally do. But for them to just come out and take the man's channel, I'm inclined to believe that Scampoli's channel was taken because they were bullying him rather than it actually being legitimate. It was just like, this entity is so much bigger than this entity, so we're going to shit on this guy because this channel, the WWE channel, offers the WWE channel gets us so much more revenue because they have 20 million subscribers versus this 160,000 subscriber channel. And I've seen it happen to people before.
No, I get that. I understand people can manipulate the YouTube system to get rid of people if they really truly did. But I'm also going to be very clear because we're going to get further into it.
Yeah.
There's also been behavior by Kevin Scampoli that has not endeared him to WWE. And who's to say that Khan had anything to do with it? Could have been somebody within the WWE team that's like, saw this guy, probably, I don't want to ruin it, but said some pretty terrible shit about people within that community.
Right.
Like, you know what? That's a strike, and that's a strike. I'm not necessarily excusing it if it was done by a power means and not justified. But
right. I got to hold on a second. I got to make sure that Otis gets moderator. There's certain people I've been like, kind of be like, ooh, let me make sure that I get, there's certain people that absolutely, and guys, hit the fucking like button. And the people that are coming here trolling, please hit the dislike button. Please.
When it kind of comes down
we need to see the dislikes. And for the people that support this platform, we need to see the likes. So let's get the likes up. Let's get the dislikes up. All you Scampoli fans, please get the dislikes up. Please. Do not forget to hit the dislike button. Thank you. You were saying, Kat?
You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. Let's kind of just further along the conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna go further along.
Yeah.
So we kind of got off the off the beaten path here. There were a couple of jokes here. This is really interesting. So I'm gonna let you get into this. This guy says no women are banging down his door. Probably not, considering he's married with kids, but sick middle school comeback, I guess, right? And I said, I don't know the dude. The behavior he exhibited rarely comes from well-adjusted people who have the social chops to convince a woman to procreate. Perhaps he didn't represent who he is well. I don't know. I don't care. Glad you're up to date on his life. I, for one, don't care. Thanks for the view and the engagement. So, what information do you have about this married situation with kids? What do you got on that? And anybody in the comments section that can shed some light, because I know there's at least one person in the comments section that can shed some light here. Please go on, Paul.
Well, didn't we kind of find out that he's not really married, right?
I think he's legally still married.
Still married, and he
legally on the books.
Now,
is he living a married life? Is the question.
No. And quick question: if you have kids but you can't see them, are you truly a father?
Ouch. Ouch.
No, like, listen, he wants to get personal. I'm going to get personal real quick. This dude, allegedly, right, beat the shit out of his wife. And that's the guy you're caping for?
That's insane. And the thing is,
that's
like,
crazy.
I should have known. I
That's
should have known that
crazy.
he's an abuser of women. I should have known that, Cap. You know how I should have known? Because he's making fun of someone else being a victim of DV.
I mean, it does make sense looking back at the video when we found that out and we got that information, and then looking into it, and then like I said, you can't be a father. You can't say you have kids when you can't see them, because he's by the court's not allowed to see his own kids. I mean, quite frankly, that's the dude you're caping for. And like,
I mean, we know the corpse.
Trolling and all that. That's cool. That's great. But there's a certain level where I just can't fundamentally vibe with someone if they're out there beating the shit out of their wife, right? I mean, and it does make sense. The first thing he went to is insulting your wife, because the only thing this guy can do and feel powerful is by doing is attacking women physically, because he's too much of a pussy in real life. Sorry. I mean, I have no, like, to me, when you put your hands on a woman in a physical manner, like, you lose your man card.
Well,
I don't give
that's
a shit about
Captain
your
Paul.
personality.
That's Captain Paul. I want to make it very clear. I have a different view. If a man puts his hands on a woman without physical provocation, meaning she does not physically attack him first, I'm on Paul's side. Now, if she's putting their hand, the woman is putting her hands on the man first, she gets what she gets. That's my view. But we're not talking about that kind of situation here.
No,
now,
we're
are
not
we?
talking about that kind of situation. We're talking about a situation where a man that is openly mocking a domestic violence case, has a record of beating the crap out of his wife, not being able to see his kids. You know, your family's not taken away from you at that point if it's taken away by law enforcement. No, you lost your family because you're a loser. So.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you look at the trajectory, and the thing is, you can learn a lot about a person by the major events of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you look at me, I came up through, extreme child abuse. I came up through the crack epidemic of the 1980s, and I made it out of all of that to attain the type of life that I never dreamed that I would ever be able to live. And I have people that I've been connected to for a decade, 2 decades, 25, almost 30 years. Some of my friends are. And I maintain a lot of fruitful, healthy relationships. I make it where people who have more than I do want to work with me and expose me to more money-making opportunities. That is the trajectory of my life.
Correct.
Now, if you look at the other guy works really hard. The dude works really hard. He built up a platform to reach 160,000 subscribers. So the guy's got some value. But then when you look at the quality of at least half of their fans that have come over here, not the greatest quality people, it seems, gravitate towards him. And then when he has opportunities to get to the next level, it doesn't seem, people are interested initially, but then when they get a peek behind the curtain, they don't really want to do business with him. No. His business reach is very limited because he's not a person that people want to deal with.
Nope.
Women don't want to deal with him. That's why they leave. That's why they leave with the kids. That's why the courts say, you know what? You don't even get visitation. Do you know how bad you have to be, how abusive you have to be for a court to not even grant supervised visitation? And so if you just look at it, he's a guy that works hard, right? The guy is knowledgeable about wrestling. He's got some kind of sense of humor that draws people in, at least on the surface level. So he's got something going for him, right? The dude's been in the gym for years. That puts him in the top 5% of society. Because only 5% of society has the discipline to go into the gym day in and day out. But at his core, either the guy is extremely damaged or he's a piece of shit. Well, and so when I look at my life and I have the choice, if I had the choice to live his life or to live my life, and I've been through some horrible things. I'll take my life over this guy 101 times out of 100.
Yeah, 100%. I think when it kind of comes down to it, his character, and this is where we talked about earlier in the show how I don't feel like he's a great builder of relationships, business dealings, because it seems like even in his own life, he doesn't have things in order. And I do want to mention this because we were having the conversation, we found out. So apparently this guy also, right? Because the DV, making fun of that for obvious reasons because he's a domestic violence abuser himself. Let's talk about him also making fun of...
But I want to make it clear, we're not making fun of that. We're mentioning that he's making fun of that.
Right. He made fun of a WWE commentator, correct, that had cancer and was making fun of that guy.
Bobby the Brain Heenan is considered to be one of the greatest heel announcers or color commentators in the history of professional wrestling, and apparently he contracted throat cancer. He developed throat cancer, and from what I'm seeing, that after the guy had cancer, this guy had T-shirts made making fun of his throat cancer, which he eventually passed away from.
Mm. So, all right, he's into DV, into making fun of cancer victims. Now, let's go back to the whole conspiracy theory, because this is what it is, in my opinion. Now, this channel got taken down. I think it's a load of shit, personally. But you also don't ingratiate yourself into the WWE offices if you're outright mocking and making fun of somebody with cancer that eventually dies of it, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, what
I think that could make them want to pick on you.
What business relationship could be fucking fostered with that level of toxicity? And that's why this guy's a loser.
Because, and the thing is, he has the skill to gain things. But, you know, he gained a wife. He gained a family. He gained a massive following, and lose. And he's not losing because other people.
Yep.
He's losing because of himself.
Yep. He's losing because, as we talk about on this channel, and the reason why we don't like to go into the drama here, we don't. I could give a fuck less what this guy says about me, whatever. I could care less. But this is kind of a good teaching moment here. Because, men, you can be a hard worker. You can bust your ass. You can do all the certifications that you want to do in life to really get there. But how you treat people in life is how far you will go. If you treat people like shit, you will be shit. If you do not treat people well, you will not be treated well. If you treat people like gold and respect others, mind you, yeah, maybe there's a rough patch along the road where you have to deal with some assholes. But if you get out in the world the energy you put out. So if you're a positive, happy, kind person, that energy will usually be received back tenfold. So a guy like this works extremely hard, probably watch wrestling for DV moves.
You're fucked up, son.
Probably why he still watches it. He's a 36-year-old.
Yo, I wonder what he did to his life, yo. Did he like tombstone pile drive her like Kane did to Linda McMahon?
No, but I legitimately probably only reason he watches it is so he can practice it, like other moves for future women. Because he's that big of a fucking loser. But this dude will always be at this lower totem pole because he can't foster good relationships. Fellas and guys on this channel that have come here and subscribed, and we've had good conversation in our Discord with a lot of our audience around our age and younger. This is like the perfect
example. He gave his wife an RKO out of nowhere.
This is the perfect example of how not to conduct yourself in life. It's just, you know, and if you are feeling that angry in life, and you are feeling that frustrated in a situation, take a walk. If you have anger issues and you have, like, take a walk, man. Take a walk, take a step. There is no excuse for you to go out of nowhere.
Yeah, and you're a hothead, Cap.
No, and I am the hothead. So, but the thing is, the difference is I have morality and I actually have a good heart. I would never, ever lay hands on my wife. And that's just not me. But, I mean, looking at the stick, domestic violence abuser, making fun of cancer patients. What else did we find out there?
I found I believe that he had a group of people that actually wanted to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they found out the kind of person that he is, they said, you know what, we don't really want you to be at this event. So they canceled his appearance at the event, to which he responded by trying to get some of his followers to phone in a bomb threat at the location where they were holding the event, because, like a petulant child, if I can't have what I want, I'm going to throw a temper tantrum and then potentially have people get injured or killed, because I wanted attention and they took it away from me. Wah, wah, wah. See the
So-
difference? Do you see the difference here? See, I don't even have to watch this guy's video. I don't have to watch your video, Kevin. I know your video is trash. But the only thing that I need, and this is what we do here on TSP, we don't just drag people for the sake of dragging people. We have a point. I'm just coming with receipts, man. I'm talking about your actions in life. That's all we're doing. We're not talking about your appearance. We're not talking about, what your wife looks like or what your kids look like.
None of that corny shit.
We're not doing any of that. We're talking about your behavior. A poor excuse for an adult male. Your behavior. We only have to roast who you are. Yeah. I don't have to talk about how you look. I don't have to talk about your wife. I don't have to talk about bad things happening to people in your family. We don't have to do any of that. And this is why this is going to be the last time that we ever discuss you on this platform. Because simply put, sir, whether you had 160,000 subscribers or 160 million subscribers, you're an irrelevant human being.
Facts.
With talent, which makes it worse. You're a waste of talent. And the only thing I have to do, hey, I got screenshots of receipts after receipt after receipt after receipt. So, if you want to, I'm sorry, this is funny. This is why Fred Flintstone has not gotten banned.
Jesus Christ.
This is why you have not been banned, because your trolling is entertaining. Yeah. Thank you. He said he was just warming up for the fight with JD. Is not domestic violence. It's called sparring. See, that's funny. That's why you're not getting banned. Now, again, I don't like to joke about domestic violence, but fucked up humor?
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. No, I mean, I got to give you that. All right. But this is like the secondary mantra of this channel, people. We don't attack people. We attack ideas and we attack behavior. And I really wanted to give this Kevin Scampoli guy, I really wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but there are too many receipts.
Too many receipts.
You're not a good person.
Too many bad things that have happened that have lead a bad track record. And this is the thing. If I'm Kevin, right, and I wouldn't be Kevin because I'm not that big of a loser, but I'll put myself hypothetically into that spot. If I'm him, I become reflective, maybe meditate, and think like, why is every single thing in my life never going the way I want it to? Maybe look inward and seeing how you conduct yourself, why you're kind of a failure, why you fail in relationships, why you fail in business, why you've had channels taken down. I mean, it's like that person that's like, oh, it's always them, but you're never looking at it like it's you.
I just want to make it very clear. I said that he was not aesthetic. I didn't say he was fat. I don't attack people for being fat unless they're not making the effort. And it's clear that he's making the effort because he's in the gym every day. But he's like trying to show off his physique and all that. And it's like your physique doesn't look good. Didn't say he was fat.
Was that the guy in the sweatshirt flexing or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, obviously the guy is not fat. It's just his genetics aren't great for aesthetics if he's trying for bodybuilding. The way that I see it, he looks more like a power lifter. He doesn't look like a guy that he doesn't actually look like a guy that lifts for physique. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to talk about looks, like, dude, you're not aesthetic.
So
he said, Vlides is an ideal Christian American man with a wife and 2 kids. Now, I'm going to let the Christian on the panel, I'm going to let you take this one.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is not Kevin, obviously, right? I don't know this fucking guy. I have no idea.
I think his nick. I guess his name is Vlides or something like that. He eats his Wheaties. I don't know.
Whatever.
Do you think that an ideal Christian man beats on his wife?
No.
No.
I think an ideal Christian man supports, loves, and treats his wife with respect. And if he's that fucking angry, goes takes a walk. You know, I mean, to me, you're a coward
Mm,
of a man if you're hitting and like beating the shit out of your woman. Because let's just call it what it is. Evil men are
mm.
generally stronger than females. Correct? I mean, is it really kind of a fair thing? But whatever. It's what I want to talk about real quick too, though. I just want to mention this: the whole bomb threat thing.
Mm.
Why in the fuck would anyone want to be have any association if you have your fan base trying to set up a bomb threat? Does that evil? Does that make any sense? So if
You're
things
killing.
don't go, so if things don't go,
You're killing your own.
little Kevin's way, and he runs a little temper tantrum. Oh, where, yo, my pussy hurts. Like, big deal, bud. You didn't get on the panel, so you set up a bomb threat? What is the point of that? That just destroys future relationships.
I don't think that people.
That's a federal offense.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, you can go to jail for a long time doing that now if you're inciting people to do things like swatting. Y'all ragged on my man Bleedings for wearing long sleeves. No, he was not ragged on for wearing long sleeves. He was ragged on for trying to flex his physiques while wearing long sleeves, which is idiotic. What he's basically doing is saying, well, my biceps brachii is large, but I don't actually want you to see what it looks like, right? But then he had like another thing where he pulled up his sleeve or whatever. I mean, again, the guy is physically strong. The guy is disciplined in the gym, but if you're if you're trying to flex while wearing long sleeves, I mean,
it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's just kind of I don't know, man.
I mean, like,
but you know what? I'll own up to this, right? I started, attacking some things and stuff like that, and I found because the thing is, I do like to roast people, and it's I do like to roast people for fun, but it's usually dude, huge is not the same thing as aesthetic, right? But then again, he's probably not lifting for I'm sorry, Jen. That was funny as shit. That was funny as shit. But yeah, Blind Bat supporting the channel. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. But the thing is, like, again, like, you want to make fun of Jay for, basically. And the thing is, I make fun of Jay's. I make fun of the way JD looks too. I made fun of the way JD looked just today. I make pregnancy jokes all the time. All the time, right? But the thing is, JD finally got up off his lazy ass and is working as hard as any client I've ever had in 11 years. So I'm good with it. Like, the guy is strong. He's been in the gym for many years. And JD is just starting, and we'll see where JD is in 4 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, and this time next year. And I want to kind of finish this off because I really wanted to get into the meat and the potatoes. I'm trying to, get into the meat of the potatoes of basically how we feel about this and why we will not be addressing this again. This guy, Trip Sizzle, says, you guys fucked with the wrong show. This whole stream was a bad idea. And he's got 7 nut huggers to say, yeah. We don't care at all.
I don't give a flying.
Losers need to be called out. Happens every single day. Hope you call out people when they celebrate domestic violence and make fun of people for improving their lives as well. So, I want to make it very clear that yeah, we don't care. Um, you know, if you support a guy, you know, who beats on his wife, not allowed to see his kids. Everywhere he turns, everybody that meets him doesn't want to work with him in the professional sense.
Mm.
And Gerald, I need you to understand this. We don't care.
No.
We don't care because they're not worth it.
No.
Now, if they were actually people who were funny, accomplished, and weren't, you know, putting their hands on women and making fun of cancer victims and all of that stuff, if they weren't those types of guys, then I would not mind having a back and forth, because really at the end of this, what we would be doing is we'd be playing you marks.
Yep.
Because, you know, we would come out with content and then they would come out with content. Did you know that our stream only had 3,600 views on it before the trolls came? You guys gave us over 600 views.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go back and forth with these guys, I can grow this platform even more because you guys are giving us the engagement, man. Do you not know how YouTube works?
Shout out. And listen, like Gerald, I read some of the comments you put, and listen, I think that 8,000 sub channel is fucking adorable. And if that's what he's gonna,
well, they're 10 times bigger than us, so let's actually like give them their respect on that.
I mean, listen,
the dude lost a 160K channel, built it back up to 8,400. I don't know how long it took him, so we got to give him his flowers on that, right? So my thing is that the only thing that he would be doing for us is helping us grow our platform. Again, you don't know how YouTube works, but the thing is, I'll only go back and forth with a human being that deserves the air that they breathe.
Yep.
So he's already a blessed man because he's a shitty human being that, by all accounts, it looks like he's pretty healthy. He hits the gym, he works hard. And he has a certain type of fan.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we don't care. I mean, I can't. I mean,
well, listen, this is gonna be the last. This is gonna be the last.
Yeah, I mean,
because quite frankly, they're irrelevant. And what I was gonna say is because Gerald mentioned a comment about successful and outside our lives, which I think is amusing because if you knew what me and people did for a living, I think that's just pretty funny. For me, at the end of the day, yeah, we could have a back and forth and get like a bunch of views and whatever, but personally, I don't feel like having a back and forth with someone that makes fun of somebody with cancer and tries to profit off of it with making shirts, right?
Right.
Someone that beats the shit out of his wife and is not allowed to see his kid. Someone who makes bomb threats or tries to get his community to make bomb threats. Like, to me, that's just the sewer of humanity, and I'm not going to further engage myself in it. It's a waste of my time. Because, quite frankly,
wow,
Kevin,
our mods are kind of slow today. Oh, no, you got him. You got
Kevin,
him.
if you do watch this, you're beneath me in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Yeah. So, you know, the thing is, we're new on this platform. As far as this project is concerned, I never really took YouTube seriously. I think on my main channel, I have like 960 subscribers. And I think I've had that channel for, what is it, 11 or 12 years. I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck. So I'm very successful in my life outside of YouTube. Hey, Cap, you're pretty successful outside of YouTube.
Yep. Oh, wow, it's like Captain called my licensing. Wow, go fucking.
Yeah, you're a blue collar 6-figure guy, right?
Yeah, that's.
And I'm a services 6-figure guy. And my wife makes 6 figures.
So, hey.
So
the YouTube stuff, I bring up.
We don't care.
For comparison, I don't really give a shit because I have other channels that are far bigger than. I don't care. And
here's the thing, and it's Takula. I believe that he does have talent. You don't get to 160,000 subscribers without having something to offer the viewer. Debauched as some of them may be, you don't get to 160K by being completely bland, which is why I kind of pushed back on you, Paul, when you were saying, their content is bland. And I'm like, well, can it really be that bland if they have 160,000 subscribers?
I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't for me, but what I saw was just.
Or maybe you only saw 2 of their worst videos. So you got to give them some grace, right? But the guy has gifts. Otherwise, he wouldn't get people to subscribe. But then when you dig deeper beyond the persona that you think is like some kayfabe attitude era, because my favorite era is attitude era. That's my favorite era. Mm-hmm. When I got the Rona and I was banished to the couch because the ladies didn't want me in the bedroom, giving them the Rona, I laid there and watched Stone Cold's whole arc from 1999 to 2003. I love that fucking era. I love it. And how about to call him Vince Scampoli again? Sorry. I can't even, the dude's not even relevant enough for me to remember his name. His name is Kevin Scampoli, right? Mm. If it was just an act and I didn't know that he was an actual piece of shit human being, then I would go back. Because the thing is, I've been roasted. I'm from the hood. That's what we did. I have no problem with the roasting, right? You know, my wife, she heard about my first lady, because I have 2 women. I don't have one. I have 2. The lady that you see on camera, she's the first lady. We've been together almost 17 years, right? She don't give a fuck what he has to say about her. I don't give a fuck about what he has to say about her. It doesn't mean anything. Now, if he wanted to run up on her and get some violence going, I don't know. But I want to make it very clear that because these things came out, I just wanted to make sure that we laid out all the receipts. We kind of put things in this proper perspective. And then you will never hear this guy's name on this platform again.
Nope.
You just won't. Do you know why? Because we don't care. All right, moving right along. Okay. So I wanted to get into some comments on a very, like I said, it was a rough video to make. Let me tell you, it was a rough video to make. Watching another man, yet another man be murdered in the streets at the hands of law enforcement.
Yeah, man.
I just.
Did you watch it? Did you end up actually?
I told you, I cannot watch that shit anymore. I cannot watch it anymore. I will not watch that anymore, because remember, those types of when the victims don't really look like you know that they're real, but you really can't sense how real they are because you can't really see yourself in their position. Like, for instance, we had this old ass man shoot up a dance studio. And as badly as I felt and as upset as I was about that happening, there's something that kind of divorces me from the true reality of what happened there, right? Like, I know it's real, but it doesn't feel that real to me. Like, it wasn't anybody that looked like me or somebody that I identify with or a family member of mine, right? So we all hear, we all hear tragedies that happen every day, but we just don't have the psychological nor the emotional capacity to process all the shit all day long. Hi, Brad. How you doing? OTS for life.
Appreciate you coming by, bro.
Okay. So this was a very difficult video. And the thing is, I know that I'm going to have some opinions that are going to upset the conservatives. And I know that I am going to upset some of my fellow Black people with some of my takes in that video. So I was ready for the smoke. You know, we got a lot of support on that video. And man, I want to go through some of these comments because there were, I was very surprised. I thought that they were going to call you a crack ass cracker.
I mean, I think the dialogue within the comment section, especially of a very traumatic event like that, like it was really refreshing. Some of the thoughtful comments that was going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about what exactly happened a little bit later on. But I mean, these comments, there wasn't much craziness in there. It was a really good conversation back and forth.
Yeah, and some people brought up some really really cool ideas about fixing this issue of law enforcement. And oh shit, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted to view the comment on YouTube. God damn it, man. Okay. Okay. So this guy, oh shit, it was Zippy. Yo, can we give some love to Zippy?
What's up, Zip?
We're gonna give some love. We're gonna give. I did not put two and two together. He's in the stream now. We're gonna let me make sure everybody can see this nice and large here. I thought that this was a very thoughtful approach to this kind of situation. Zippy says, let's give you your flowers today. The more I try and wrap my head around issues of law enforcement and the few options I can come up with to balance the madness the powers that be have created in their lust for power. Number one, get rid of half the laws and rules on the books. Many are duplicated and unneeded and only seek to raise the cost of everything, like law on drugs and guns. Talk to me, Cap.
Well, I don't know if you can really make gun owning that much more expensive, because it's already kind of expensive to get guns. I mean, I think when it kind of comes with certain drugs, right? Like and me and you don't consume or take any drugs, so it's not really our thing. But I'm fine. Like I'm of the belief that if you want to do something that doesn't harm anyone else, you want to do it in your own fucking household, do whatever the fuck you want to do. That's kind of my thing. I think when the government gets involved with prohibiting drugs, they're just a means to. They ruin lives for something foolish of like an ounce or a few ounces of weed in your pocket back in the day. So I think decriminalizing a lot of that would benefit society. And as for, I don't know what laws you would get rid of though. You get what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to get? Like, you're going to get rid of some of the restrictions? Are you going to get rid of all drug laws altogether? Does that mean, like, you make cocaine legal on the street? I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I have said this line right here. I've said this so many fucking times from when I was a fucking teenager. I'll give you an example. They have laws against males getting into fisticuffs with females. Particularly, we're not, not necessarily just the mutual combat stuff, but we're talking about like men beating on women. But then they'll come up with another law that is worded slightly differently for the same fucking purpose. I don't understand why we have to have all of these fucking laws that say the same shit over and over again so that this particular politician can pander to this base to get more votes. A lot of these laws on the books are not even for really enforcing. A lot of these laws are there so that this person can say, I have my signature on this bill that became law, vote for me again and make sure that I continue to earn $180,000 a year on your fucking tax dollars doing really nothing.
Right.
So when I saw this, I was like, I'm a fan of Zippy to Strange. Automatically, the first fucking thing they said was get rid of these duplicated, fucking worthless laws. And
That's
they're
true.
all written all convolutedly. Do you know why that Kyle Rittenhouse guy got off? Because they wrote the firearms law so convoluted, and the judge was looking for any way to get this kid off. That when you read it, they're like, well, it's the length of the barrel and all of this, but the fucking statute says dangerous weapon. You don't think an AR-15 is dangerous? You think the length of the barrel decides whether or not it's dangerous. But they wrote this law so idiotically, it's worthless.
Yeah.
So I can't, in Wisconsin, I cannot walk around with a slingshot as a 16-year-old. But I can walk around with an AR-15. Just got to make sure the barrel is long enough. What?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these laws are outdated, and then they get amended, and then the wording of it just gets all fucked up, to be very blunt. The
Oh, this is a bar right here.
changing laws, yeah. I mean, when it kind of comes down to it, I kind of want to talk about his second talking point there. The second point.
The second?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
go through that.
disarm the police and large sheriff offices. Let SWAT be the spear and only use them for firearms and known violent criminals. This means for cases like George Floyd, they simply keep an eye on the person. If they run, they run. Let mental, and the comments blocking, I can't read. Let mental health deal with them. So I'm going to push back a little bit on this. What I think needs to happen is I think there needs to be an actual legitimate academy, not a 6-month academy.
Or 6 weeks.
A 2 to 4 week two to 4 weeks. Sorry, a 2 to 4 year program where they get trained on the physical aspect of the job, the mental aspect, and knowing how to de-escalate situations properly, and having strict rigors throughout that program. If you do not withhold the standard that they want to achieve, you can get booted from it. Because you have a lot of people go on to the police that have very minimal knowledge and very minimal training. 6 weeks or 6 months is just not enough time to have enough training to become proficient at your job. It's kind of like when you go to boot camp in the military and then you go to training school after the fact. There's a lot of different things you do to get specialized and become better. Now, what I will say is this. I don't believe in disarming the police or sheriffs. I think that's just going to make it so if they're out there patrolling, criminals will act in criminal manners, right? And they'll take advantage where possible. What they need to do is have far better training on these officers and let them know what the fuck restraint is. And also, I don't know what your opinion on this, having better hand-to-hand combat. Because I see a lot of officers that truly just get frightened in the situation.
And run right to the sidearm.
And they just go right to the sidearm. And I think maybe like the taser sometimes it does not work because the clothing.
I thought I grabbed my taser.
Oh yeah, that woman was crazy. Taser doesn't work, but I think some hand-to-hand combat, or a mixture of some pepper spray. The officers I see now are just far too eager to pull out their sidearm instead of de-escalating the situation. Because as soon as you put your hand on that gun or you draw that gun, that situation is at a point of no returning. Because you're not de-escalating it. You're making that person very irrational in that moment. Now, there's certain cases, and I'm not speaking of the Tyree or Tyre. I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, because that wasn't even about law enforcement. No. That was a gangland murder.
That was some gangland.
We thought that was a failure of law enforcement, and then we got, there more information is coming to light about the relationship between the victim and the murderers.
When it kind of comes down to it, you've had certain victims that do not follow orders. But I've also noticed a case where there's this white young man that was is he was wearing like gym shorts and his pants were falling down, and the officer's like, "Oh, put your arms behind your back. Oh, stop grabbing for your waistband," because he was putting his arms behind his back, and they just kept giving confusing orders, and then they killed him. They just ended up shooting him, and he died because the officers weren't properly trained.
You know what they need to be
why,
trained in, Cat?
What's that?
Because I don't think that that's a failure of necessarily protocol. I think it is a failure of mental preparation.
Mm.
I think that when they train them to know what some of the laws are. They don't train them to know all of the laws, because on a regular basis, police officers are being caught on camera having the laws recited to them. Sometimes they pull over lawyers and they look like a complete fucking fool. So they teach them about some of the laws, but they don't teach them about all of the laws. And if you're going to enforce the laws, you should know the laws.
To be fair, though, and I'm not defending these officers, but I also think some of it's the culture in some of these police departments. Not all of them, because maybe there's some police departments that are really good, but there's really some departments that have a very toxic culture that know that the everyday civilian does not know all the laws, right? And you've seen cases where cops have overreached and cases have been thrown out the window because they broke laws to get certain information. So this third point, for every police, sheriff, precinct location, they have 3 to 5 smaller ones that will all be elected, and they can deputize people akin to jury duty. You get 1-year tours. Active duty is out and about all the time. Few in number, but they get paid, etc. Rear guard are part-time trainees that can be called up and are akin to plainclothes, but as trainees, they do not do much. They can be armed at sheriff's discretion. And then the last pool are reserves who have most, if not all, the training or were once active duty. They are semi-active plainclothes that do their duty work whole while they are doing their normal day job in life.
All right, so let's start. Hold on a second. Yeah. Let's just. Yeah, it's a lot. Let's break it down. Okay. Let's just break this down. So, for every police, sheriff, precinct location, have 3 to 5 smaller ones. So this kind of goes back to the fucking point I was making when we were doing the show on the phone, and then we actually recorded, when I was telling you about how the modern policing profession is the great grandchild of the slave catching profession, where they do patrols and they go out looking for crime or trying to create situations where a crime can be committed so that they can enforce the law. Now, if you go back to the old days, the way laws were enforced with sheriffs, deputies, and constables, you had people who are elected that was trusted by everybody in the community. And then when anybody had a problem, they can go to them and say, hey, we've got a dispute here, or this dispute infringes on my legal rights. Can you come take care of this? Right? So if you had 3 to 5 smaller locations that are peppered more throughout the neighborhood, every neighborhood or every few blocks has somebody, it's almost like their tribal chief, right? That they can go to for wisdom and to settle matters, to adjudicate all kinds of matters, right? I think that this would really be a great idea, and they can deputize people, but only for a year at a time. So what it does is, in my opinion, this is how I'm looking at it, it keeps people from ending up fucked up with PTSD because they're doing these long tours. If you look at how they do it in the military, they don't just have you out on the front line for the whole war. Like, they cycle you in and out. And even then, you have these psychological scars that you wear from having. But if you're just like kind of settling disputes and making sure that it doesn't rise to the point of someone getting murdered, right? And you're over here de-escalating things, and you're not looking for ways to try to hem people up or put them in these for-profit prisons, you can get you can get a lot done, I think, with this, right? And then it says, you don't get too many of them. They can get paid. Um, I don't understand the rear guard. Rear guard are part-time trainees that can be called up and are akin to plainclothes, but as trainees, they do not do much. Can be armed at sheriff's discretion.
Maybe like
Okay, so
kind of
you kind of have like an
like a
apprentice.
like a minor league, you know.
The AHL.
The AH, I was just gonna say that the Harper Wolfpack of the Rangers or the Protestant
Yeah,
Northern Bruins.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it's like, and then I think another thing that this does for the populace is that it gives everybody the opportunity to understand
Mm.
how difficult law enforcement actually is. So when people have a better understanding of what a job actually entails, they're going to be more likely to have respect for A, the job itself, and B, the people who are involved in that profession when it's somebody else's time to come up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only caveat I would have with this is so they could deputize people akin to jury duty. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
what's
like everybody, so you cycle them out. Like somebody is working for a year and then you cycle them out, and then you get a summons in the mail that says, hey, we're going to consider you for a sheriff's deputy, to
that
help.
that? But that would have to like be completely passed federally because think about it. You do it that way. Like your real time job would have to be completely accepting of that. You get what I'm coming from?
Right.
Like if it's a jury duty type thing and you get picked for it,
Yeah. And
that's
nobody
where
likes to do jury duty.
yeah, nobody likes to do jury duty. And I'll be really frank, like, and I'm not trying to sound like this guy, but would I rather make six figures or fucking barely get by on a police wage? Like, not to
I
be an
thought
ass,
that did cross my mind,
like not
Cap.
not to be an ass, bro, but like I have a certain way of life,
I'm running a
and
multi-million-dollar business and I got to
yeah,
stop for a year.
like Mark Cuban's on the force, or like
No, Mark Cuban is cool because other people make money for him.
yeah,
Like he doesn't actually do any hard work anymore. He
yeah.
hasn't done that in years.
That would be this would be a very different way of doing it. It's just it's too chaotic in a way because you would have to make that essentially pass federally, which I don't think that would ever pass federally, and then you
Or at
would
the
have
state
to,
level.
and the state, yeah, but you'd also have to have people willing to give up their day to day jobs to go make less money, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because sure as fuck, no one's gonna want their taxes to go up to pay for like people that are.
Could you imagine if the Bruins first line center and right winger were both summoned for sheriff duty in the middle of this season that y'all guys
Oh,
are
I'd be
having this
pissed,
year?
bro. I'd be like, fuck it, dude. It's over. It's already over.
That would be so funny though.
That would be so fucking great.
I mean, it wouldn't really be funny, but I'm an asshole, so it would be
I mean,
funny.
shit. All right,
Set the max to 20 to 40% of a sheriff's population. Work with people non-active duty, get food and gas and paid training, etc. Everyone gets health benefits. You can split Fed and state funding equally to all of them as they are spread out based on population numbers and square mileage. They can help each other out with aid and funding,
mm.
load balance it so waste is more easy to spot since smaller offices have to run a tighter budget. What do you think, Cap?
I mean, um, it's an idea. I like. I'm not as big on it to be honest with you. There's just so much moving parts here in this idea. I'm not saying it's not brilliant. Like maybe in a perfect world where people like it would this would already been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're setting a max of 20 to 40% of the sheriff's population. Non-active duty get food and gas and training paid for. So obviously taxes would go up with health benefits as well. You split the Fed and tax state funding equally to all of them as they spread out based on population numbers and square mile. They can help each other out. Yeah, I mean, this is all. this is all like a decent idea, but I guess is really I was gonna say the quiet part out loud. We all know people are gonna fucking just people are just gonna fucking make workarounds not to pay those taxes.
Right.
Yeah,
David Banner says defunding the police is not the right answer. Demilitarizing them is. But I mean, how do you think that they're able to get militarized with these outrageous police budgets? Like, I mean, we in my city, our police budget is greater than militaries of whole sovereign nations.
yeah, but you're New York City. Like regular police departments around the country do not have that type of budget. They do not. And the military, I think, I think when it kind of comes down to it, to a degree, yes. I don't think every single officer needs to have a fully loaded AR-15 in the back drop ready just to get off. But I think you need SWAT. Like,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
this is a myth. There's not a lot of crime in New York. There's just not a lot of crime in New
um,
York. I mean,
well,
I've been living in this city since the day I was born, and let me tell you
there's a lot of
something.
people.
It's way overreported. It's way overreported.
Well, the
The
problem
crime
with New
rate is
York is it.
higher than it was before the Rona, but it is much lower than what it was in 2005,
There,
2002,
well,
nineteen ninety six,
there's a
1986.
there's a 22% increase from 2021 and 2022.
Right. But
And
when you look at that, it is still a double-digit decrease from 10 years ago. Like, and some of our most violent crimes have gone down double-digit percentage points. So, it's a lot of propaganda to try to get them to boost the police budgets. That's what the police benevolency association wants. That's what the unions of the captains and the detectives and all of these fucking police
I'll be real.
unions, they
I'll be
want you to
real.
believe that stuff.
I'll be real. Maybe the budget can be inflated a bit, but I've been some parts in New York that I would not want to be at night sometimes. Like when I'm going out of the Erie Basin, man, and I'm leaving, I'm like, bro, like you hear some gunshots sometimes. Like, oh, I'm good. I'm just gonna keep on driving. Just get right on that highway and get the fuck out. But
Mhm.
that's like every place, right? There's gonna be some rougher spots, right? Even in Providence or uh, Boston, yeah, even depending Jamaica Plain, they've kind of cleaned up, but even some places, Boston, like there's rougher spots. Um, but I think when it kind of comes down to it, having SWAT teams, having police have these type of, I would say, vehicles or weapons, unfortunately, sometimes is a necessary evil, in my opinion, because I would rather have them have access to things that maybe they don't even have to use, right? Than a really bad situation break out and then they just have nothing to
How
counterattack.
about we have an actual specialized force, not underneath the purview of that department, but actually a different bureau altogether that handles the serious matters. So, like, how like people have an emergency, they call 911, right?
Right.
911, what's your emergency? I've got a hairball. I just threw up a hairball, right? Instead, have them call a different number, like, I don't know, 919 or 999 or something, when, somebody's life is like really like in danger,
Mm.
right? Then when you have a buffer where if somebody is just walking down the street with a shirt on, no pants, and waving their dick around, you
Mm.
call 911 and not 999,
Yeah.
because then they'll know they don't need to come with the fucking bomb squad because somebody's walking down the street with the dick swinging,
Mm.
right?
You know,
So then
yeah.
what's your emergency. Oh, there's somebody in the street. Let's go get a mental health professional on the scene. And if the guy is armed, then we'll escalate it. Now we'll send an armed officer to accompany the health representative. Because the thing is, part of the problem with our police system isn't the big, bad, evil police officer. It's the fact that you want the police officer to be your bodyguard. You want them to protect your property. You want them to protect your vehicles. You want them to write tickets. You want them to help people feel better. You want them to be a counselor. You want them to direct traffic. You want them to do all of these fucking things. When the only thing that they should do is enforce this subsection of laws and make sure that nobody gets beat to death within your purview.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, you said it, Cap. 6 months training to do 7 jobs?
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that standpoint. I think we ask too much from these officers, and I also think they're just properly not trained.
Dude, I'm about to fuck you up with additional comment. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's been a thing. That's been a known issue, in my opinion, for a while here on the state side of things.
Yeah.
That they're just undertrained and they're not. I mean, there's so many cases, but one just sticks out. The one shit that grabbed the taser couldn't tell the weight difference, which I don't know how the fuck you don't know the difference between her. No, she grabbed her handgun. She thought it was her taser. I'm like, how do you not understand that? Like,
yeah.
how do you not feel the difference there? Like,
yeah, your service weapon is probably 2.5 to 4 times heavier.
Yeah.
Than your taser.
And then she just like lit a few like, and like a taser actually looks completely different too, right? So when she popped off, that like didn't recognize it.
I think she had tunnel vision.
But that's a problem because in that situation you shouldn't have tunnel vision. You should be really aware of your surroundings, and that's.
She saw a ninja.
Yeah.
And then immediately.
Yeah.
You know, Xenon has a pretty interesting premise here. The culture,
I think he's right, though.
Yeah, I think he's right.
I think a lot of this is the culture. You know what? Because when back in the day, you used to be able to have a shotgun in the back of your pickup truck when you went to school. There was no school shootings. There's nothing wild. I mean, we've had this discussion on the telephone, right? Where I think when it kind of comes down to it, the mental stability of these generations are in the shit. And what is the reasoning for that? Obviously, pretty much since Columbine, like what has happened to these younger generations, my generation and the younger ones, that have caused people to just like, you know what, I'm going to just unload a magazine into a bunch of people to get out my rage. Like what's changed? What philosophy has changed? And I feel like, society as a whole has been on a downward trend, and let's have this conversation. I feel like a lot of it is, and this isn't to say every atheist is going to go out and shoot up a place, but I think there's a lot less God. There's a lot less fear now of repercussions of you doing evil and fucked up shit, right? There's no fear of the afterlife. Like, mind you, I grew up Catholic and all that, and I understand there's a lot of negatives that comes with the churches and these religious organizations. When human beings get power, things become corrupted, right? I don't think that's crazy to say.
Right.
But I feel like for people for the longest time, they'd feel sometimes fear of like, man, if I do this, there's repercussions where, I don't know. I just feel like since there's less God, you see more of this violence. I mean, what is your opinion? Maybe I'm way off base, but that's just kind of something I've noticed where as the years have gone by and we become less godless and we become less fearful of any type of repercussion in the afterlife, we just see more wild and wild shit. And I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think that, when you talk about no fear of the afterlife, the first thought that I had was we've had too many people report what it is like on the other side after they die, because people have had their heart stop and, been shut off for minutes at a time. And you have people coming back and they're saying, there's nothing on the other side. There's nothing there. And then it's like, well, if there's actually, your heart stopped and you were gone and there was nothing on the opposite side, there was no pearly gates, there was no, naked, beautiful cherubs. There was no, guy with a book that showed all your your
That's weird because
wrongdoings.
I've heard the other side of that where people have died and like they felt like they did see something on the other side. That's actually kind of funny you said that because I thought you were gonna go in a different avenue there, but
Yeah, but too
I've
many
heard
people
story.
have come back and said, "Well, there's nothing,
Mm,
there's nothing there." So, hey, I'm reporting from the other side. I came back from there, and it's pretty empty. um, Zippy says, in my opinion, it's less God and more lack of punishment. We let the violent ones back out. I have to disagree because when you have a 72-year-old man that is tired of life,
mm,
so he goes to a dance studio and then goes to another dance studio with his guns, and then he takes himself out. What punishment can you have for somebody that has no hope, that feels underrepresented in
mm,
society? Like, really, what can you do? What can you do to deter a person that has nothing to lose
mm,
because they don't think that they also have anything to gain?
mm. You know, this is what I will also this is what I will also say because I do believe in the afterlife, right? And but there's another comment here about social media. I don't think we can cause everything regarding social media with the
But this
violence.
made
I do,
life a whole lot worse in too
but
many areas.
I'm saying at the beginning of it. But now I do feel like social media has played at least some part of the reason why there's so much violence now. Because we're behind a keyboard, we're behind a computer screen. There's no face-to-face interaction, and we said this multiple times on the channel. I know I have. It becomes far easier to demonize and hate the other side when you truly don't interact with them, right?
Yeah.
And I
That's
feel
why we're
like
here, right, Cap?
that's exactly why we're here.
We were able to create this platform because you had exposure to people that didn't look like and live exactly the way you did.
Yeah, and I think
That's
what
why
I
I
try
told
to
you that redlining is a major problem. The
mm,
practice of redlining to keep racially homogenized communities, to keep the
mm,
blacks out of white communities because of this
mm,
fear of black people.
mm,
It makes it where you continue to metastasize the fear because now there's no black people for them to actually compare their assumptions against. Like, again, the kid that went to Buffalo and shot all those people
mm,
in the supermarket, right? He had to drive over 4 hours to find these black people he claimed were replacing white people. And again, we talked about this when it happened. His information is so but beyond wrong
mm-hmm,
that he was saying, well, I want to make sure that these black people can't replace us. The black race is the only race since 1970 that has not gained in share. The only minority that has not gained in population share in this
and
country.
you can blame Planned Parenthood for that.
And yeah, yes, since 49% of all black pregnancies since 1970 have ended prematurely.
Yep.
So black people were 12% of the population then, and we're still 12% of the population now. The Jews have doubled from where they were, I think tripled, actually. Hispanics, um, South Asian, East Asian, we've remained flat for over 50 years. So you want to go and say, well, these black people are going to replace us, but you can't find any for 4 hours. You have to drive 4 hours to find some black people.
I shouldn't laugh at this, but that's funny.
But I mean, it's insane, isn't it?
Well, and I think with social media in a way, it's made like the problem is we have all this information at our fingertips. We have all this data, all this information, and guess what? You can find virtually any website to support your view, and people get stuck in these echo chambers and stuck in this vicious cycle of just reaffirming their own belief instead of challenging their worldview. Because, like, if you really think about it, the people that created these smartphones were probably like, oh man, this can be great. All this information, all these websites, the internet, right when that was created, it's going to be such a great avenue for information sharing. And
Mm-hmm.
it truly kind of shows the human flaw, right? We don't want to be wrong. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be incorrect. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will not challenge their worldview. They will just
Mm-hmm.
reaffirm what they believe.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And
shit!
I
You
think
and Xenon were, you guys were like that on that
like
thought.
that. And when it kind of comes down to it, right? If you don't get out of your own box and look into new information, look at different side, as you know, right? There's been times, Evil, you've corrected me or I've corrected you because we
Mm-hmm.
come from different backgrounds, different backdrops, and we're able to kind of look at things objectively. Like with the Kaepernick case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talked about that. I was wrong on that, you know. And I, but my thing is, the good thing about our channel, and this is why we've created, is like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong.
Right.
Like I would rather
It's wrong.
correct,
It's wrong to try to willfully be wrong because of your fucking pride.
and that's the thing, right? Like I'm not Stephen A. Smith, right? I'm gonna sit here
Yeah.
and try to spit truth here.
Well,
I just think
but we want to be
better off.
sure. Can we check that hairline? Just to be.
The hairline? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like we got hair back here, boys. So like,
Oh yeah, that's definitely not a Stephen A. Smith
but I'll make
hairline.
it work.
So.
I'll work it. I'll go to the barber and fuck it up real good.
Can I say one thing to Zippy? This is where I got to push back on you, Zippy. This notion right here that we let the violent ones back out. I want you to think of the countries that we think are like gulags, the Russias, the what's another country? Would be
Sure, no, just joking. I know that's a country.
said Chernobyl, Russia,
Yo,
China,
it
North
almost became a
Korea,
country during that war, bro. That almost
yeah,
became another exclusive zone again.
Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Rwanda. You think about all of these countries where you're like, whoa, people's freedom is really, really limited.
Mm.
Would you like to know the country that has the most actual number of prisoners in their population, and B, the greatest percentage of the total population as prisoners? Do you want to know what country that is? Would you like to take a stab? Would you like to take a guess at that, Captain Paul?
No, I don't. I want you just to tell me. Share.
Okay.
Share
Lazy
with the class.
bitch.
I am lazy.
Okay. Okay. The it's this country. It's this country right here.
Mm.
We have the greatest number of total prisoners and the greatest percentage of our total population that is being put into jails across the board.
USA. You know, no. Well,
You said USA can afford to jail all the citizens, but before too long, we might find ourselves there if we're not careful, right? So if you want to say, well, they let all the violent ones out, I don't think that's actually the case. Because if they did let all the violence out, it would be the purge up in this bitch. It would be the motherfucking purge.
Well, let's be really blunt here, though, too, with because we're kind of running late here. But when it kind of
but then ours, we just beat them up in the street and kill them. That's what we do. Yeah, I mean, you know.
But with the U.S. prison system, because it's for profit and a lot of it's very backwards. Like if you look at those prisons, it institutionalizes them, where they will get out and then they'll do some more fucked up shit just to go back in because they can't adjust to outside life. I think obviously there's a difference between someone that's out there murdering people and then someone that's maybe trafficking drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I think we need to have a better program where we can reacclimate them to society and give them skills, because when people get out of prison, they're like, it's like a time warp for them. It's like a time machine. They're going into a future where they just like, what the hell? What's this? You got to give them tangible assets to succeed in life, because if you don't, they're just going to end up going back to jail. And that's what happens a lot of the time with these people, because that's the only thing they can kind of go back to make money. And I mean, I think that needs to be addressed with the U.S. prison system. Now, as for, and also the prison system, there's a lot of human rights issues as well, with how they
solitary
treat the
confinement, yeah,
and how they treat them, and like, I think if you, and it's weird to say this, but if you cultivated a better sense of like purpose in there, and you treated
Hmm.
them decently and humanely, they'd probably be far better off. Now, I'm a little bit less sympathetic to certain people that have like blown up buildings, stuff like that. Like whatever, I don't really give a shit. That might sound evil, but I don't care.
Nah, we're gonna get into that.
If you take human lives, I don't really give a shit what happens to you at the end of the day. That's like when El Chapo's wife is complaining about his treatment in that Colorado federal prison. It's like, well, was he thinking about how well other people's families felt when he was murdering hundreds of thousands of people?
Well, if you will allow me to cut in on that, I have and the thing is, like, I've said similar things already on this channel, and I'm gonna say it again, man. If you have video evidence, irrefutable, I'm talking about irrefutable. I'm not talking about
Mm,
the evidence points towards guilt. I'm talking about we've got a confession, we've got videotape, we've got DNA evidence. It's a complete and total wrap.
mm.
Euthanasia after trial. We're wasting so much time with people. The only thing that we're going to do is make them worse. The prison, they call it the penitentiary. There is no penance paid there. They call them correctional facilities. They don't correct them in there. They lump them in there. They treat them inhumanely to make them worse. And then if they haven't murdered somebody during their prison term, then you unleash these people out onto the street.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
For me, euthanasia makes you kill your pets. Like, you're wasting crazy amount of tax dollars. You're wasting a crazy amount of resources. And the only thing that I can think of why it exists the way it is because the prison industrial complex
Mm.
is wildly profitable. And that is why, oh shit, me and David are on some shit today. Shit, I wasn't even looking at the comments. The U.S. prison industrial complex is working exactly as intended. It is not a bug, it's a feature. Remember that judges that got caught sending kids to jail for money, right up here in the Northeast, too. They were selling the kids to prisons and taking kickbacks. The fucking judges. I think that judge got like 30 years in prison for that.
Well, it's disgusting behavior.
Yeah, I'm just like, and some people, when you look at their attitude when they talk about the crimes they committed, the first thing I think is, why are they still here?
Yeah.
I mean, I went full Quagmire, Paul. I got a question for you too, bitch. Why are you still here? Like,
yeah, I mean, like, listen, this is my opinion. 9mm bullet is around, I think, about 25 cents, right? Back of the head, call it a day. Some of these people, just call it a day, man. And, like, we could save the taxpayers and a lot of money. And we could spend that money in things that are more important in other programs. But, you know,
yep.
I just think, quite frankly, it needs a lot of revamping. But when it comes to the worst of the worst, like El Chapo and those people like the Oklahoma City bomber, just put a bullet in the back of their head. Don't give them 3 meals. I don't, just call it a day.
Dude, as much as you want to say, denigrating things about the Islamic nations, they don't have high crime rates.
No, because
because if you steal some shit, they'll chop off.
Like who's gonna want to fuck around, bro? Like, like stranger danger, I guess, in the bed. Like, oh well, like I lost my right one, so it's like they're gonna just chop off your hand, chop off your feet, and they'll just stone you to death. Like, yeah, like that's the one thing I'll give them. They have that in order, and that's why people are so fearful to fuck up over there. Because
hell yeah, like they don't play that shit.
They don't play that shit.
You know, I mean, like
to the good old fashioned, man. Like we've had this discussion, and this I don't know if this is gonna be kind of a low T. Probably should have been a low T thing, but
We should
I mean,
probably
like,
save it for low T.
but sometimes the public acts of like have you ever played Red Dead Redemption, like two?
I have not,
Well, that's
but now that you mention it, because I've been looking for a game to like stream, and I got this fucking shit off when I got the PS5. So I've been putting off. I might stream it tonight. I don't know. I've been putting off. I didn't play the first game in the series, but I was looking for a game that has like an interesting storyline that I can stream on the Doctor Evil Genius channel. But this is the one that I'm going to start playing. If it's fucking boring, I'll choose something else. But
yeah. Honestly,
Red Dead
I'll say
Redemption,
this.
man, might be one of those games that I have to look at.
Get Red Dead Redemption 2. Have you played the first one?
No.
No, so like that's an Xbox 360 game at this point, but I would actually encourage you. You can play Red Dead 2 because it's like kind of like it's a prequel essentially. So you could actually play Red Dead Redemption 2 first. I would play that game because the story is actually really phenomenal on it, and I think it'd be a good streaming game.
Okay. Because
so
the thing is, there's nothing better than High on Life. Like, there was nothing better than that.
I mean, just Justin Roll. You know what was better? He's not high on life. The creator.
Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss that. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that guy in a video that we're gonna record probably tomorrow. But let's not give too much of that away.
No.
But we are gonna cover that because that one hits a little bit too close to home. But I want to cover this comment right here, Cap. So basically, going back to Sir Robert Peel's principle of policing, where the goal is to reduce crime, not catch criminals. Remember, I told you the difference between a sheriff and a slave catcher, and what their main duties are, and what their specialties are, right? Where the goal is to reduce crime, not catch criminals. Getting community support reduces crime. Being involved in the community gets community support. And you know what? It kind of goes back to what we've been saying a long time about why you get so many more of these mass acts of violence from people who are largely either isolated or extreme introverts, right? When they don't feel like they are being allowed to be part of a community, they go out and do things that are reprehensible, morally reprehensible. And because they don't, like, if you don't feel like you have any stake in the game, why should you give a fuck? And again, you know, it's another thing. It's another thing too, that when we look at how people look at being in communities, right? When you're in the community, you have some stake in the game, right? If you look at companies that are employee owned, the employees are more willing to come to work. They take less days off. They're less depressed. They're better compensated, and they have more pride. They end up enjoying their work, even if the work itself isn't enjoyable, because like they have, like, it's theirs too. Right. So if you have a society where the society only belongs to the beautiful women and the wealthy men, and you have all these other people out here that society says, well, you're not part of the community. We don't care about you. Why should they give a fuck about your community when they're not allowed to be part of the community?
I agree.
And I think that is so important that we try to bring people from the fringes, which is part of the reason why we created TSP.
Absolutely.
We want to bring people who are being pushed towards the margins and bring people back from the margins and say, hey, let's have a discussion here without, calling you names and making fun of you and all that stuff. Let's hear what you actually believe, what you actually think, and where you got this thought process from, and let's reason this shit out. Because every single time you make fun of somebody and try to push them and and try to bully them and all this shit, every time you try to do that, you're creating potentially the next mass killer. Potentially. You can't keep pushing people toward the margins and then expect nothing's going to happen. And now we live in a society where, you know, that's the top 3 things to do when you don't like your boss or you don't like your community. That's one of the, it's starting to become that in our society, where the mass shooting would happen once every 5 or 7 years. Right. Now the mass shooting is happening 3-4 days in a row. Yeah. In a 3-day span, we had 2 mass killings in the same state.
Right.
You know, the guy, the second guy, they wanted him to pay for repairs for something he thought wasn't his fault. And he already hated the people there. So he went there, shot up the manager that told him he was going to dock him $100 or, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. Shot them and shot some other people didn't like, and then went back to his old job. Rick Allen is so funny. Ooh, look at you guys now, almost balling at $50 a month because you almost have 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations. Yeah, it's enough for me to turn on my, I can afford the electricity to turn on my gaming machine, my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 machine.
That's it, man. I mean, yeah. I think we've had a good conversation. I'm not
gonna
lie, my fucking hips starting to kind of kill me right now.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that we covered a lot of the ideas. Oh, I do want to cover one more thing because we got to give our guy Lutch. We got to give our guy Lutch some love because he you know how sometimes it can get a little bit contentious sometimes when we have discussions. But let's give our guy Lutch some love here. And definitely go check out the Indian Jesus on his platform. Great convo. Dr. Evil put it well. A straight up failure of humanity. Yeah. I cannot even fathom what kind of excuses these cops will give. What the fuck can you say? Well, they're going to get their chance to give their excuses. And that last point about mob mentality makes a lot of sense. You want to give us some parting thoughts, Cap, about mob mentality? Because we experienced that with people coming over from another platform and, you know, trolling our platform because, you know, they were incited to do so, right?
I mean,
you know, like these the dangers of mob mentality. Because the thing is, when in that other situation we were talking about the bomb threat earlier, right? If the person is traced and found out by the FBI that they actually called this in and their lives are ruined, you just help ruin the lives of your own fan base. Because of that hive mentality, that mob mentality is very dangerous because, like I said, the 2 guys that were not in the fraternity with the victim, the 4 guys who were involved that didn't get their wife bent over by the victim, do you think that they're going to be thinking 3 or 4 times about, damn, imagine if I didn't get involved in that? If they would have did what the white cop did and just said, oh, I hope y'all whoop their ass, and then you stand by. You lose your job. But that's all.
Yeah. I mean, when it kind of comes down to it, the mob mentality, you got to be very wary of it. You know, we've seen even earlier in the stream with the mobbish type mentality, people that really, you know, they no longer are individuals. They become hive-minded and just have one person think for them. And in that case of that, with the officers brutally murdering that guy. Let's just call it what it is. I watched the fucking film, and the lamppost showed the angle of the really bad angle of it, and they're just wailing on this guy,
jumping from the top rope.
Because they're so angry and get caught up. They see 2 guys punching and 3 guys like kicking,
and
they all just jump in.
Yep, and you know that's mob mentality because of the progress.
And it's dangerous, man. You gotta just really gotta fucking know in life, like, hey man, like in certain situations you gotta know to walk away, know when to really kind of reevaluate. Don't get yourself caught up in those particular situations. Like, it's just,
did you just say know when to hold them, know when to fold them?
Yeah, you know, my singing went really good last time on the channel. So you know, when it kind of comes down to it, you gotta really think about things and be wary of how you conduct yourself because, like you've said, Evil, there's probably a couple of those guys really thinking, oh,
Damn.
fuck,
Yeah.
I fucked up. And I let the
Yep.
heat in the moment of the situation get to me. And it doesn't excuse it, by the way, because if you
No.
have integrity, you don't let yourself get caught up in that.
Right.
But
It's that regret, man.
you gotta watch that stuff,
And
man.
and the fact that they're black police officers now in jail.
Yeah.
Woo! To finish off today, again, I just want to give some love to you, the viewer, because we are and of course, plenty of love to our guy JD from NY206. I'm telling you, you OTS people really show up for him. And, we're not about poaching a bunch of JD's viewers. We're not about that. But you guys have stepped up. You found something of value here that we're trying to build here. And we're, somewhere just north of 50 subscribers away from 1,000. And so I have to give you guys your flowers. You guys have been very supportive.
Phenomenal.
And, we did not do everything that we were supposed to do the first year to build a platform. We could have been at 8,000 subscribers by now.
Yeah.
Hey, look who showed up at the end. Show some love to our guy, Lutch.
Shout out to you, bro.
We already gave you love. And he showed up after it. But yeah, we've put a lot of heart and soul into this platform. There are days that I considered giving up. And Lord knows there are days that Cap was like, you know what? I think we're going to step away from the platform because, but look, man, like,
having fun, man.
Look at what we've accomplished. Look at the fun that we're having. We're also getting better at our format. Like I'm going to let you guys know something from behind the. Oh shit! I got to say something real quick to one of our viewers if he's still here. Seditionalist said, off topic. Lewis did a short stream today about a topic he might want to redo with you guys. I think it would be a good subject for this channel. And I look and I have a message. From him saying something we have to discuss on camera later. This was 2 hours ago. So, wow, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, can we do Lutcher favors? The guy has a lot of wild discussions going on his channel. Go check him out because when we're done, he's going to start up his stream. In about 10 minutes, he's going to go live. YouTube.com at the Indian Jesus Official. Okay? At the Indian Jesus Official. If you like a lot of uncomfortable conversations, I like them in very small doses.
Yeah.
Definitely go check my man out over there.
Yeah. I mean, and also you want to check out.
Oh, he's talking about that fucking fraud, Donovan Sharp. Oh my God. Woo!
You should check out his secondary channel, the
Locker Room.
The Indian Judas. That's my new secondary channel.
You're an asshole!
I'm gonna really launch off and talk about what he talks about. I'm just gonna react to what he's reacting to. It's gonna be a great fun time. So make sure to subscribe to the Indian Judas because I'm you won't, bro. Listen. I am, bro. I'm clear, man. I've done that before. I will fuck around and make that channel.
Oh shit! And he'll use your face in the icon too.
Dude, I'll just do it with his logo. I'll just put it in Photoshop and just like spray it red, right? Like just spray his hair red.
Oh, you said not the Irish Judas?
Nah, bro.
The
listen,
Scottish Judas?
Bro, listen. Oh shit.
Oh shit. We could call him the Ginger Judas.
Yo, that's a brand, bro. I'm making that right now.
The Ginger Judas. Oh my God. I gotta give you guys love, man. The Ginger Jesus. That is so funny, man. Oh man. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, sometimes me and Lutch are like right there. But anyway, man, we really appreciate the support. We also appreciate the disrespectful trolls from earlier because you gave us a lot of watch time. And so when we actually do get monetized, we'll stay well above the bottom tier when it comes to watch hours. For those that don't understand how YouTube works. So we would appreciate it if you gave us a hate subscription and you left dislikes on every video in our catalog, because we need you to interact with our content so that we can get some more of that YouTube money. So if you're going to talk shit and make sure you put them troll ass comments on the videos too, man, because it pushes it up in the algorithm and it helps us reach more people. So make sure.
Yeah, like we need you to beat that dislike button like Kevin Scampoli beat his wife, boys. So that's what we need to do. I'm definitely for it. So we'll
yeah, for real. And please continue. People want to make videos about us. I mean, you can come back and tell us, but we're not going to watch them because we know how YouTube works.
Yeah.
And we know how YouTube works. So we don't care about people making videos about us unless they're genuinely entertaining and they keep their hands off of women. If you keep your hands off of women and you keep your jokes away from cancer people, you keep your jokes away from people's moms and wives and all that stuff, and you want to attack us, then we can go back and forth and have some internet beef, or we can have fun with that and we can make each other some more money. But that's about as far as it's going to go. So we really do applaud the haters. You guys actually have helped us get a lot more subscribers too, which is going to push us towards monetization, which is what we're striving for. So continue to hate watch. And Indian Jesus, I really wish you were here earlier in the stream, man. In fact, I think you should go back and watch the first hour because we made you proud. We made you proud. So anyway, can we give Caps Hip a break because he's an old ass man. These motherfuckers are still giving us views on that other stream, man. We're up to 4,300 views. So thank you guys for your hateful comments because it helps push us in the algorithm, and we really do appreciate you for that. For everybody else, thank you for the love. Continue to keep sharing because we're going to keep coming with the hard-hitting discussions. It looks like we're probably going to have the venerable Louis Rossman on the podcast, either live or in a recorded video, either tonight or tomorrow. So I got to get off of here and call Louis. But any final thoughts from you, Captain Paul?
I mean, I think everything that needed to be said been said.
Sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this.
Had fun kind of taking the piss out of people. And I'll say this. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to The Locker Room. It's a hockey channel that's really actually it's been taken off and doing really well. In a span of 3 months, I've gained over about 1,200 subscribers. And it's been a fun ride. And
if you like hockey, go to The Locker Room.
Go to The Locker Room.
If you like other sports, don't go to The Locker Room.
No, actually, other sports. Funny enough, you said that. I'll be actually having other shows beginning towards the new year. Next season. So I'm trying to get in place with certain sports like baseball. I know you don't watch it. Football. We're gonna kind of go those realms. Basketball, I'm not as.
Yo, he just came for your throat, son. Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yo, what happens in the locker room does stay in the locker room. So,
hey, yo, I ain't in there.
Shout out to Las Vegas, man. So.
Oh yeah. I'm Dr. Evil, and we're getting the fuck up out of here, man. We'll see you on episode 58 and whatever filthy casual shit we choose to do, and whatever videos we upload. We appreciate if you watched and either liked and disliked, but make sure you hit the sub button. See you motherfuckers later.